We acknowledge the First Nations people of the land, sea, and sky countries that we are sharing stories from today, and we respect their spiritual relationship with their country.
We respect that these cultural and heritage beliefs are still as important to living First Nations people today, and we extend that respect to all First Nations people watching and sharing with us. Hi, everybody. My name is Jacob.
And I'm Sam. We are moderators from MOD, and MOD is the Museum of Discovery. We are a future-focused museum that explores art, science, and innovation. And today we're exploring our online exhibition, Life Interrupted.
Specifically, we will be taking a look at our exhibit, Our Sky, from our first exhibition called Modify. The science of astronomy is only one way of knowing the universe. Storytelling, observation, dreaming, art, philosophy, exploration, and experience are other ways that we can make sense of the solar system around us. Our Sky challenged the visitor to question their knowledge of the universe, but through both Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal ways of knowing.
To help us re-explore the exhibit Our Sky, we're pleased to welcome Bunna Lawrie, one of the storytellers from this exhibit. Bunna is a whale songman and a senior elder of the Mirning people from the Nullarbor on the coastal lands and seas of the Great Australian Bight. The Mirning are the whale callers, Whaledreamers, and whale protectors.
Bunna carries the gift and song, stories, dance of life, culture, wisdom, and tradition that has been passed down by his ancestors. They are the travellers of the dreamtime. From a Mirning lineage of over 60,000 years, Bunna is following his duty and responsibility to carry the story and songline of Jeedara, the ancestral white whale of the Dugur dreamtime, which crosses the Great Australian Bight in the whale songline and journey.
Hi, Bunna. Welcome.
I thought I'd never learn to do this.
That's all right. Welcome, Bunna.
Yes, welcome.
Thanks for joining us today. I know it's not easy with all this technology and across a lot of space and time. We're traveling today to catch you.
Good practice.
Before we talk about the story that you told as part of the Our Sky exhibit, this week will be the beginning of Reconciliation Week. And what does Reconciliation Week mean to you?
Well, it's very important. It's very significant. It's recognition and recognizing, acknowledging all the nations, Aboriginal, Indigenous culture and traditions and customs, and the first people of this country, to recognize that all our ancestors who came before us have kept us, this Australian coast, this Australian country, beautiful and pristine and clean. The environment was immaculate and beautiful. So, we have to honor our ancestors, and reconciliation and acknowledging Aboriginal Week or Reconciliation Week or Sorry Day, whatever it is, it's very important to have that for our children's future to also, and because we live together in Australia with non-Indigenous people and Australians who are here. So we must, work together, and it makes a better relationship with the Indigenous people, Aboriginal people of this country, the First Nation people, with the non-Indigenous Australians also. So living in harmony and working together with people, and recognizing one another's existence in this land, and also sharing the country and sharing the stories and sharing the connection is very important for us, people like me and my family and other nations, families and Aboriginal people, because there is a future that we need to think about. The future and the past that we've enjoyed, we need to share to make sure that the future generations of this country now, with our first generation, make it reconciliation a very important part of life, for recognition and reconciliation. So our relationship continues, in harmony and unity with all Australians in this country.
Thank you for sharing that with us, Bunna. That's a really wonderful way to start our conversation today. And a word that you returned to a few times during that was sharing. And that's what we're talking about today. We'd love for you to share with us the contribution that you made to the Our Sky exhibit. So perhaps we could start, if you're able to give us a brief summary of the story that you told in the Our Sky exhibit for our viewers who perhaps didn't get to see the exhibit when it was in the museum.
That story that I shared is very important. And like I said, it's a mythological, mythology story, from the dreamtime. And I know lots of other, every people of this nation have stories too in connection to the same part of the giant sky, you know, that is the universe, the cosmos, you know. We call that in my language, it's one mayula. That means in the faraway distant worlds, in the distant worlds beyond, in the Yidari. Yidari is the Milky Way. And in our belief that our people knew that sometimes our people were, you know, spirits were making fires in the sky. When you see that Milky Way, the smoke's coming from each star. So all those stars is sort of like, it's in the distant world, billion miles away, or so many different light years away. But in the neutral way, in the far away one mark, on that invisible road, that mythology, the great white whale Jeedara began his journey, you know, began his journey from the stars. And in our belief, we know that there's stars up there where they come from, in the Mirninger, from the cetaceans. And we knew that when he came to Earth, and as you know, Seven Sisters up and plays a big part in not only Indigenous people of Australia, but, you know, globally, from the Indians to the Asians to, they all talk about the Seven Sisters that travel and contributed to, you know, nearly every nation, you know, about dreamtime stories and connections and in the beliefs of stories. It's very important to share, not only with my children or with my family or my elders or, you know, our tribe, but we share it with other people. And when we hear their stories, you know, we reconcile. And what's reconciliation is about is sharing your stories. And not only we share it with Aboriginal people, we share it with non-Indigenous people. And now I share stories now with people that come from overseas and multicultural people, and they're just amazed and sit back and awe, you know, which is about connection, you know. Hey, you know, come with us. You know, we share our stories. We'll teach you too about connection. And, you know, but the Milky Way, it's a very important part of our daily lives and our nightlife. And, you know, our people have traveled out there in little canoes and little copters and went fishing and used the stars as the guiding light, or to where the next place is. Or if you get lost and, you know, get caught in the rough seas, well, there was that certain star, or that star that we know, like Yergala, we say Yergala in our language. That means star of Venus. So Yergala, the Yer means the bright light, and the Gala means the fire. So when he comes up at night in the east or in the middle, he comes up in the evening as well. And he comes up in the morning as the morning star in the evening. So, but in the nighttime, when he comes up, you see that really glowing, fiery light. And that's Yergala. It looks like a fire. That's Yergala, the star Venus. So when he goes to the east, he becomes Yundo, also the morning star. So when you go, if you go in the west, if he comes up in the west, then he's Yergali. So he's also the evening star. So we've got three different names for that, just for that one star, because he appears in different times, because our world is rotating around. Hey, where's that star going? You know, I think what happened, you know? So it's up there, you know, doing the balance, you know, in gravity, you know. It's amazing how our world, you know, float on that. We call that the Mirninger. The Mirninger is also the Kurawari. The Kurawari is also that big circle. So if you look nighttime at the stars, you look, oh, look at them stars, but do you know what's beyond that next star? Do you know what's beyond that next star? That's one mile. It's never ending. It's never ending. You know, just like life on this planet. It never ends. The sun will always rise. The moon will always appear. The moon will always shine, because of there's billions and billions of planets out there. So, you know, it's just amazing when you tell stories. When I sit by the fire and I listen to my elders tell me stories, you know. And because I'm learning, it means listen, learn, understand, observe. Then you get wisdom and knowledge, and you learn that, and you teach your kid, you teach other people, and then you connect yourself to it. And, you know, we know that we're never going to get lost in the dark. We're never going to get lost out at sea, because we're always in tune. We're always connected in harmony with Mother Nature, or the great creators that I believe where Jeedara came down from. He was sent by the great creators in the Jugana, in the Juga, in the faraway distant world. And he came to Earth, and, you know, people, when you tell stories like that on the visible world, they look at you, they don't know whether to believe you or not, you know, but it's real. Because, I guess why it's real? Because we've got every name for a lot of those important stars. You've got the dog star, you've got the star of Venus, you've got the whale star, you've got the cetacean stars, you've got the lion star, you've got You've got the emus up. You've got all different stars that have names. The Buffalo Star, the Orion. You know, that's non-Indigenous people have named those stars, but Aboriginal people, not only me, from my tribe, have got different names for those stars. So how amazing is that? And when we come back to Earth, planet Earth, we call it Eula. Eula Makalma means red planet Earth in our language. When you come back here, well then, every Indigenous people, Aboriginal tribe, have a name for certain places, sacred places, names of things for the tree, for the rock, for the bird, for the kangaroo, for the emu. It just goes on. Even the little, down to the little ant, the fly, the smallest thing you can see. Names in Aboriginal words in their language. So that means that we are connected to that. And we share that. We share that with, you know, to all those creatures, living beings. And it's just amazing when we tell stories, and I'm telling the story now, I get emotion in me because of, I'm so grateful that, you know, my people have shared some amazing stories, you know, amongst other people. And although some of that it's really hard for them to digest and to believe, but it is true because the language is there. When you go to the place, you can show them. Look, I can show you that. I can show you this. You know, we are connected to this place. So, you know, and we only take what we need from Mother Nature, you know, from the great spirits, you know, and our ancestors. It's we know that they are still with us, you know. We know that when our spirits die, it comes out from the mouth of the cave, and they ascend back to Yergala or back to Jajangandri or in the Mirninga. The Mirninga is about 12-letter word in our language, and that word in our language is the word sit on top of our what called the alphabetical order of all our language and our words. So out of that one word, it means the Kurawari, the dance of life. But everything inside of that, it means all the things you can ever think of. So I can sit down just like when I write songs. To me, it's a jigsaw puzzle, putting music together. But that thing's a jigsaw puzzle too. You can paint the sky, you can paint the stars, you can paint the earth. It's a jigsaw puzzle. But you know, you can play with it any way you want to. But education, it comes from here. It comes from the land. The museum, it's here. The museum's up there as well in the sky. You travel up there, what do you find? What did Neil Armstrong find up there when he went to the moon? Right? What did he see up there? You tell me, you know? That's education again. You go to another planet. Somebody's been there. Yes. In our language and in our mythology and in our stories, we know we've got 4 people that have traveled and still there today, you know? That those people are talked about. Sometimes you see them at night dancing on the full moon, running across the moon. So, you know, that types of stories, it's warming and it's very, very emotional, and it's exciting to hear them stories because, you know, when we tell other people, they walk away, that could be true. Can I look it up, Bunna? What book? You want to look in the dictionary? Well, my dictionary is my Mirninga. My dictionary is my land. My dictionary is my stories. My dictionary is my history because I'm connected to that, because I come from my ancestors. Yalgu is my blood. In that blood comes from my ancestors. And that's all my education, because I've been taught that. I grew up with that. I learned that. I became initiated in my tribe as a whale man, songman. My friends, my family is the whale. My family is the ocean. My totem is the ocean, because if I go out and swim there, or if I go out in a boat and I get tipped out of the boat, the sea going to push me back to shore, you know. And if any animal's going to come to me, like a shark, and you know, I'm protected. So because you're connected, and if in that way you got to get connected, so you got to talk to animals, you got to talk to creatures. People go to Africa and shoot elephants all around the world, shooting, you know, boar pigs and for hunting and all that, but they don't know how to talk. They don't know how to greet them. If I say wenyo, that means hello, greetings, welcome, hello. It's, you got to talk in your language. So when you talk their language, it connects to the land, and something talks back to you. People might think, oh, I've said a lot of the tree. What are you talking about? That tree is a being like us, all of us. So that whale is a being. We're all made from the one creation in our belief. So all of our ancestors believe that we come. You go to North America and India, they'll talk about the Great Spirit. They'll point upwards, or they'll point that way. It's not down there, you know. Heaven and earth is together. So in the Mirning, we're all on that one big cycle of life. Cycle of life is the most precious thing that the great creators gave us all, from, even if they say we come from our cousins or monkeys or whoever we are, and we dominate. Our dominion is supposed to be all over animals and creatures because we are the caretakers, all of us, you, me, everybody. We are the caretakers. We're the custodians. It's our responsibility and duty. That's what I'm trying to teach people. We stand together. We live together. We do things together. Your children, my children, everybody's children will one day dance together. Not will one day, will enjoy what we are doing. So, and that's one of the things that I feel is very important for me now to, and, my brothers and my sisters, all the other elders, they do the same thing.
And Bunna, you talk a lot about education and passing on the stories, and you've pretty much answered this question. We were going to ask about the importance of passing on and sharing these stories to younger generations, but maybe at the same time you can tell us what current projects you're working on and how people can get in touch with those projects.
Well, I'm ready for anything really, because I know you can't go anywhere, you can't even drive interstate, but music is my passion and my culture is my passion. So wherever I go, I teach people about my language. I teach people about my connection, about my people. I teach people about sharing and caring. I teach people about environment, how we look after the environment, important things. Because to us, like again, we say, you got to treat that ocean like your family. You got to treat this land like your family, like your house. So if you're on the ocean, that's your house too. Like that whale, that's his house. Or whatever animal that lives in the bush, that's his house. It's about protecting, sharing, and being wise. We must be wise to control everything. If we're not wise and we go greedy, we go a bit silly, want to get too much. Like I said before, we don't take all, we just take only a bit what we need. What we need is for family. So, profit economy, and all those things like that, it's a bit too much overwhelming, all the things, there's no balance in this planet at the moment. Until we get that balance, and what I'm talking about is we need to come down, step down off that hierarchy and be on the level of being the groundsman, the earthman, instead of being the rocket man or being the jet man or being the oil driller man or being the gas man or being the uranium man. All those sort of things we do is totally wrong. You can make things out for power, yes, but when you do it in the wrong way, it's totally wrong. So I want to be able to make sure that children will know that they go to school, and a lot of them don't want to go to school because while they go to school, there's wars on. While they go to school, there's other things happening. They're mining out there. They're killing animals. There's destruction. There's a climate change. As you see, little Greta Thunberg, left school. 16-year-old girl. A lot of stunning. A lot of guts to go and do that. To go out there and talk to a whole nation, talk to a world that's powerful and doing things a bit too far out, far away from being the groundsman I'm talking about. So this is what we are now. We are caretakers and custodians and guardians.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your stories and your thoughts and some background to those stories today. And it sounds amazing and interesting what you're continuing on with over the next little while. We're really sorry. We wish we had a little bit more time, and perhaps we'll have to have you back on another show.
No worries.
Talk a little bit longer.
I can talk sun up, sun down, mate.
Excellent. Well, thanks for joining us, Bunna. Thank you.
Thank you.
And our next guest is Karl Winda Telfer. Karl is a senior man from the Nullarbor Plains, the dry forest people, family clan from his grandfather's line, which is known today as the Gunner Nation from the Adelaide region. Karl also has strong bloodline ties to the Narungga Nation on the York Peninsula. His family clan's people were the Warri, and they come from the line of Shooting Tommy from that region in South Australia.
He is a senior custodian, a cultural educator, designer, and artist. He has been involved in Aboriginal cultural and spiritual renewal all his life, coming from a family of strong cultural and political activity. He is known in his and the wider community as cultural bearer, coming from his mother, of the spirit fire.
Karl co-founded Yellika with his partner Sonia Waters in 2015 to keep young people strong in culture and identity through cultural teachings and learnings. Hi, Karl. Welcome.
How you going? Good to see you.
If anyone, it's great to see you. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to put them on the chat, and we might have time to squeeze them in, but maybe not this time. But before we start to talk about the work, your contribution to the Our Sky exhibit, Karl, maybe you could tell us a little bit about what Reconciliation Week means to you.
Well, I guess reconciliation, just in thinking about it in its totality, I think we're still wanting to talk about the truth of reconciliation so we can find, I guess, the next step or the next steps, and I'm seeing a lot of institutionalized processes set up to look at how we govern those sort of things together. But I still think that there's a lot more room and opportunity to embrace more cultural understandings or ways of understanding for the wider communities, and that's about getting out on country and understanding what it actually means to be on this country. And then maybe, that word Australis or whatever it was in Latin that was written first, or Van Diemen's Land or New Holland, or all those names that were given to this place while ours were ignored, could be reinserted in a more cultural appropriate way, and people then can really gain an understanding of what their identity means to them, all that are coming together around reconciliation in this country, because we've been here from the first sunrise, and there's a lot in just that statement.
Thank you for sharing that with us, Karl. We would love to know now about the contribution that you made to the Our Sky exhibit, particularly if you could give us a background, as we did with Bunna before, to summarize the story that you told us, especially for people who weren't able to hear it the first time.
Yeah, well, I guess the stories are, that they're important. That's who we are. It's what, it's all about us and our reflection and our walking alongside the footprints that have come before us, and doing that with the utmost respect. Once we gain the right, and we've earned the right to carry those stories or those practices forward, it's been there's been difficulty over time, because there has been there has been that disruption through history. And when I hear, a lot of First Nations people speaking, and I mentioned one as Bunna from the Mirning, the fire is still alive, here on the ground and up there in the sky. And in the heart of what he was talking about with his relations, his family clan, which is his bloodlines, and it's the same thing here. It's the same thing everywhere, and they're the things that connect us. And when you look at the stars, it's like, well, yeah, you could sit there probably for a lifetime and try and connect the dots, but what would that image be once you've done that? No one's ever even really attempted that, in thinking that way, like us, which is a whole total different concept, because we think in circles, and you fellas think in squares. And we see where the squares have taken us all. And we need to come back to the circle, or the moving circle, or the songline circle. We too have that cruddy quality, which is about that, the circle dance, honouring the cycles all the time, you know, of the earth, of the moon, of the winds, of everything. The law sits in everything. And we are only here for a fingernail of time, and we're responsible then to ensure that the teachings and the learnings and the ways of understanding are carried on through the wind to the next generation once our wind is expelled, which comes to us all, you know. So the wisdom of that too. And it's about people, young people, earning the right to know that too. And that's another thing, because in this society that we have now, everything is too instant. And people feel they can just take this and grab that and and, you know, remount this to tell this, but it's, you know, there's no, you know, it's not the right way. You've got to sit in the circle first, listen to the ancestors. Like, you know, the earth speaks, we know that. The trees speak, we know that. The rock, the water, the everything. We are not separate from it, you know. And we are the oldest living continuous peoples on the country, they say, scientifically, but we've always known that. We've always known that, and our relatives know that too, you know. If you ask the First Nations anywhere you go, you know. But, you know, with that, with trying to share this, is trying to get this nation to understand, you know, a bit more about that. You know, the gifts that are in there, the sharing that's in there, the complexity that's in there, the you know, the ideas of a new pedagogy that we may want to start introducing now in this time, whatever time this is.
Yeah, for sure. And there's definitely you know, there are concepts and problems and areas of discussion that are so large. You know, I think space and time and stars being one of those, that definitely takes more than a generation to understand. And so looking to cultures that have a long line of seeking information about that, and stories about those issues is important. And what is the importance for you of passing on and sharing stories to the younger generations today?
It's really important. It's about who they are, you know. And that's what it should be. It shouldn't be a piece of paper saying, I am Aboriginal and I've signed by this person or that person or whatever. You know, for you to know that in yourself and in your bloodline and what you're connected to through your ancestors and your country, you've got to know it inside of yourself, you know. And for us as First Nations people, that's always, you know, we've always been encouraged to leave that behind, you know, because outside of the gifts that we share and that we have, and the agility and the ability on the football field or any sporting field, everyone loves us, you know. But at the same time, that's where we get taunted as well. And, you know, I guess the young people are, you know, are constantly facing that, you know. So if they know story and they know their connection and they know the strength of spirit in that for themselves, well, then nothing's gonna you know, nothing's gonna knock them off their path on their earth walk, spirit walk while they're here, you know. And that's really, really important. And that's just something that I've been chosen. I didn't choose it. I was chosen by the ancestors, the old fellows, you know, that in the dream, or it might be this, might be that, you know. If you're aware, you can hear them speaking to you. They send them messages all the time, you know. And you just got to be aware of that, you know. that's how you learn. If you can be quiet, that's the only way you're going to listen. And in this time, we don't, everyone talk, but what about everything else? How do we be still and really listen, deep listening, yeah, that's why I do what I do, and I have done for a long time. Known you for a long time, Sam, that. Worked in the arts trying to turn things around by just being there, rocking up on time as a black fella, on time. Just to say, hey, I'm here. I'm not here for me. I'm here to make change for the generations that are coming up that may follow my footsteps or not. That's irrelevant, but for the ancestors too, because the past, present, and future is in the now, and what we do now and today leaves the traces on the ground for those who can track and see.
Now, I know that it's hard to kind of think about what the future might look like at the moment, but at least it's a bit easier to know what the present looks like. And before we wrap up, we'd love to know what you are doing at the moment, and if there's anywhere people can go to find out more about what you're doing or to learn more about anything we've spoken about today.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we just did a big. I've been working with the Fringe now for a long time, Adelaide Fringe, and I did a big a story there called Jeedara, which was the second sort of rendition of that. That's the most recent work, and that was held at Tandanya, at our only national Aboriginal Cultural Institute that exists in Australia. Yet again, going back to acknowledging the fight that the old people before me had, and taking something in there like. Yalika is, we have our story, and on Yalika is old wisdom, new ways. And that was all about that concept there and what we did there. So that was a big dreaming and light story about the peace law of country and all that, that exists not just in a virtual world, or a projected light vision world, but also, it's out on the living country and the country that it sustains us, So we've got different little projects around the place with our cultural group. We've been working with people, but if people I guess want to find out more about what we do, Yalika, we have a Facebook page, I guess. I mean, the technology's there now. We have an Instagram, which I know nothing about. That's a generation after me. But if people want to find out more, they can contact us through our Facebook page, and just if they want to follow, that's cool, and we'll just let people know what's coming up, because we do full moon gatherings as well, kakaramonto, and that's friendship fives that we have, and that's about bringing people together, black, white, doesn't matter, whoever, whatever, in the spirit of humanity, to sit down and share a feed, share a laugh, share a story, and share in the warmth of that fire, and listen to some of the stories that I share around how the fire is important, about bringing our hearts together, so we forget about our minds for a moment and start thinking and responding to the heart. So Facebook page, Yalika, and also, Tandanya is a good spot to go to for people if they don't know about it already. But yeah, like you said before, brother, about COVID and stuff has changed a lot of things, But I'm really I was waiting for this time, because with all the sadness, there's also life, and seeing a lot of the the air, the things are cleaning up, and the mother is taking care of that for us. So we need to notice that, and look around, look around, and look straight, look around. So I guess that's about it. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Karl, and for sharing in this with us. It's been really special.
No worries. Thank you very much for having me along.
Thanks, Karl. And it's definitely sitting around a fire weather at the moment, and I think we're allowed to have 10 people around at the moment. So Yeah, it's
Really?
thanks for.
Is that
I
all?
think so. Yeah, I think it'll change. Who knows? But yeah, it's definitely fireplace weather at the moment. Yeah, so we'll pop those links up in the Twitch stream chat
Yeah.
to the Yellowka Facebook and Tandanya as well. Once Tandanya is open again as well, it's a great place to go and check out. Thanks, Karl.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks. Makara. Till our paths meet again.
Now, our next segment will be streaming our moderators in Modcraft. They'll be in our biophilia realm and experimenting with a new build.
Ooh. And if you can't see when the next segment appears, we're about to go to a holding screen. Sometimes it stays on that holding screen. Just give it a refresh after a minute or so, and you should be with our games channel.
Refresh. Thanks so much for tuning in today. It's been great chatting with our guests, Bunna Lawrie and Karl Winda Telfer, and also checking out Modcraft with Debbie and Josh. Thanks also to Becky, Kia, Claudia, Kat, Pete, and Samuel working behind the scenes today. If you'd like even more games, you can head over to Modcraft right now. Our realm is open until 7 p.m. tonight, and also Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday this week. And it's our last week of being in our Modcraft realm, and it will move over to a Modcraft server with a few changes next week. So check it out.
And we will be back tomorrow at 4 p.m. with a special Q&A with Damon Gameau, director of the documentary 2040, hosted by Lee Constable. In the meantime, if you'd like to see more of what's happening here at Mod, head to our website, mod.org.au, or our Facebook and Instagram. See you later.